So today's a bit of a unique day. I'm actually recording this a little early today. Both my kids are actually sick. My younger son developed pink eye, and he's now napping while I do this. But on the way home, I was listening to the radio, and apparently Donald Trump responded to issues about Puerto Rico and the response to Puerto Rico after the hurricane, that big hurricane that we had last year. Hurricane Maria, I think it was. And I was listening to CNN, and it just is such a huge continuation on and on and on about how terrible Donald Trump is. Yet, in my lifetime, this may be one of the best presidents that we've had, at least in my lifetime. And that's not that very long. I'm only in my late 30s. And I guess for me to be old enough to remember presidents, I guess George Bush Sr. would be like the first president I would be able to follow. And since then, I've never seen a president get so much done so fast, especially in his first year in office. Is amazing to me. And this is an exciting time to live. And it's just such a shame to see how the press covers Donald Trump. Every evening when I get home from around 5:30 to 7:30 p.m., I lay down in bed before I go to bed, and I watch about 2 hours worth of speeches and White House briefings, and then I watch the news, and I always just laugh. I laugh when I watch the news part. That's the comedy. I mean, rather than sitting down and watching a movie to laugh at something, a good comedy, I watch CNN and I get to laugh. The reason why is because I watch a speech from Donald Trump, and when I watch the speech from Donald Trump, I'll you giving me a hug? Okay, please not now though, sweetie. Daddy's talking right now. Okay, so I'd watch a speech from Donald Trump, and then a few minutes later, I'll just watch the CNN coverage on the speech that he just made. I heard him word for word, sentence for sentence. I've heard exactly what the president said, and believe it or not, I was able to listen to the words that he's saying and not come up with some weird stuff in between the lines of what he was trying to say. And then also in the process, I can relate to a lot of what he says because it all makes sense. Okay, now today, I want to make an example. I want to show my viewers, you guys, what I see. So let's look at this for a second. So I did a search. I just wrote the word Puerto Rico in the search engine just because I know Donald Trump spoke about Puerto Rico today. And I watched the speech. It was pretty good. It wasn't really a speech. It was more like a briefing. He was sitting in the White House talking about Puerto Rico and the hurricane and the response and so forth. So after watching that, I said to myself, what he said made a lot of sense. I didn't find anything offensive. I didn't find anything disturbing or upsetting or something that would lead me to believe that the president is a bad president or didn't care about people. But the news is hoping that you won't watch the actual speech or the actual briefing or watch Donald Trump. They're hoping that the American people are too stupid to watch the actual speech. They'll say, "Oh, that's boring watching the speech. I'll just watch the CNN coverage." Then they watch the CNN coverage, and this is the kind of stuff that they see. Let me show you here. All right, so as you can see here, he talked about Puerto Rico. And he was talking about the response. So read this one right here. This one is by CNN. It says, Trump touts Puerto Rico response as fantastic, despite nearly 3,000 dead. Despite nearly 3,000 dead. How dare he say that? 3,000 dead. And he's saying it's fantastic. Well, I guess the fake news didn't really lie because he did say fantastic. But here's the thing. He said the response was fantastic. Not the hurricane with 3,000 people dying was fantastic. No. That's not what he was saying. He was saying the response was fantastic. Now, let me give you an example of what I mean. And I hate to use this one as an example because it is a horrible thing in U.S. history. But September 11th, after September 11th happened, I went to Manhattan because I lived in New York. And I went through those streets downtown and I looked at this huge mess. And I was like, oh my God, that is going to take a very, very long time to clean. I mean, two humongous buildings landed flat in downtown Manhattan. There was dust everywhere. Sure, the dust is the easy part almost. It's almost like snow. But all that rubble, it was like 10 stories tall of like rubble. It was huge. I couldn't even assume how long it would take. Maybe a year, maybe a year and a half, shoot, maybe even 2 years. It was so big. You would need an army of like 1,000 men and bobcats to move all that stuff. It was so, and not to mention, if anybody's ever been to Manhattan, that place is tight. There's no room on the streets. You can't just drive a Mack truck down the street and, one after another and then have traffic work at the same time. It's just not going to happen. But after about maybe 3 months, they had it under control in a matter of a few weeks. Let's put it that you could drive a little bit downtown Manhattan. The immediate streets next to it, after about 3 or 4 months, you were able to function down there. The only place that you couldn't get around was maybe right up against where the World Trade Center was. And I think in about 6 months later, there was a big hole. It was just a big open hole with a road going around all four sides with a fence, and it was just a big hole. It was huge. Now that, I would say, was fantastic. They did a fantastic job responding to September 11th. Now, that doesn't mean that September 11th was fantastic. Over 2,000 people died. That's fantastic. But that's the way they're making them sound. So now anybody who didn't watch the actual speech will come strutting along, writing the word Puerto Rico on their search engine, and then all of a sudden they hit Trump touts Puerto Rico response as fantastic despite nearly 3,000 dead. You almost want to take the person that wrote this and punch him in the head. You really do. You're like, are you stupid? Like, is that what you heard? Because you shouldn't be on TV. You shouldn't be behind the keyboard. You shouldn't be writing for CNN. And CNN used to be one of the leaders in media. But this is embarrassing. This is terrible. Who writes like this? I mean, are they being paid money to write this stuff? I mean, how out of context could? And then you watch these other shows where CNN's actually interviewing somebody, and the person they're interviewing is like you're just gonna lie, you're fake news, and then they go like this. They say we only say facts, but meanwhile, yeah, it might be a fact that he said the word fantastic, and it might be a fact that 3,000 people died in the hurricane, but it is not correct to say, and despite nearly 3,000 people died. Because that's not what he's talking about. He does not find any joy in 3,000 people dying. He finds joy in the fact that we have an organization that can respond fast enough against all conditions and issues and problems that came up during this horrible hurricane. Did the best that he possibly could. Meanwhile, it's not the president that does this. Okay? It's the president that puts policy in place before the hurricane happens, many months before, maybe even years before. These things have to be set in place for the response to occur. It doesn't happen that moment. In fact, any condition that existed during the last year was everything from Obama. The Obama years, 8 years were the Obama years. During those 8 years, everything that has occurred during those 8 years created the product of 2017. Remember, Trump was only president for a few months. For him to actually stand there and even say that it was Trump himself that made it so that the response was good, I would actually say that's far-fetched for Donald Trump himself to say that. I mean, the most that he could say is during the time that the hurricane happened and when it was time for us to respond, I stood up and said, go, do it. Like, green light or hit the switch. But Trump wasn't the electrician for that part. He just hit the switch. The Obama years were the ones that created the whole situation that occurred in 2017. Now, today, this is now 2018. So President Trump did have some time to make some stuff work better. And my God, the things that he has put in place, it's beautiful for the future that we're going to have. He really is, truly is making America great again. He really is. And this darn media, this CNN, This joke, that's right, this joke of CNN is ridiculous. They should be ashamed of themselves. Now, I'm ranting on. Let's go on to another one. How Puerto Rico's death climbed from 64 to 2,900. Okay, well, that's another CNN. That might be true. I'm not really sure. Now, here's the third one. Trump declares response to Hurricane Maria as fantastic. Let's click on this one. Guarantee you, USA Today is going to say something that's completely ridiculous. Trump describes response to Hurricane Maria as fantastic a day after higher death count. Oh, so now they're saying that his timing is bad. So he says it was fantastic, but by the way, we got to tie something negative in there. A day after we found out that there's a higher death count. Like as if, oh, somebody more died. We had more deaths. It's time for me to push it in a little bit. That's exactly what he was thinking. President Trump said Wednesday his administration did a fantastic job. Right? Here it is again. Let's go back out. I got a little pop-up here. They want me to buy, they want me to subscribe to USA Today. See, what USA Today doesn't realize is I'm visiting their website to laugh at them. It's like almost like the same thing when I buy cable and I subscribe to the comedy channel. Do I want entertainment for $9.99 a month? Stay connected with the bullshit for $9.99 a month. That is mighty expensive for bullshit. Let's do another one. Here's one. This one's from the mayor of San Juan. Okay, it's looks like you're using an ad blocker. Yeah, okay. All right, so here's one from the mayor.
Everybody.
Let's watch this.
Is responsible. But there were people in power that had the opportunity to request more aid, to request the aid when it was...
Which they did.
Reasonable, to request the aid when it was needed,
which
to
they did.
tell the truth, and they didn't tell the truth.
Who?
And the governor of Puerto Rico sat there besides the president when he said, 16? You ought to be commended. That's not a real disaster. Katrina is a real disaster. Well, Katrina was a real disaster. And now we have more deaths than Katrina. And what comes out of the White House yesterday is simply we are very proud and we are of what we did and we are very committed.
You see what she's doing there? She's doing the same thing. Another CNN. They're saying that they're taking the whole issue of President Trump complimenting the response and the quality of the response to the actual disaster itself. Okay? That's not what Donald Trump was talking about. And if they require an explanation for this, then I'm wondering why you are mayor. Did you go to college? Do you have an education? Are you able to follow a conversation or a speech from beginning to end to realize that Donald Trump is not complimenting, once again, the number of people that died? He's not saying that's fantastic. He's saying the response was fantastic.
Trump administration killed the Puerto Rican with neglect. The Trump administration led us to believe that they were helping when they weren't really up to par. Shame on President Trump.
Did you see it get clipped there? What probably happened was she said something that was pro-Trump accidentally. So CNN clipped out the rest of her sentence. Then they start off again. And it's going to continue to get worse. Maybe, in fact, they probably stopped the whole conversation altogether and said, wait, Mayor, you're not saying things that are bad for Trump. You have to make it worse. So then they refocus in and they hit record more.
Shame on President Trump for not even once, not even yesterday, just saying, look, I grieve with the people of Puerto Rico. Shame on him. First of all, he doesn't even take a time of the day to say, look, I'm sorry that you...
I heard him say, I'm sorry. I heard him say, it's such an awful thing. I heard him take a moment of silence for all the people who have died. I have seen it since last year. A whole year worth of it. Of him saying, oh my God, that's so terrible. All those people that died. That's so bad. That's so bad. We're going to spend billions and billions and billions of dollars fixing it. And they're hoping that people aren't going to watch the news. I mean, they're hoping that people aren't going to watch the speeches, watch the presidential briefings, so that they can make their own decision because they default to CNN. Listen, everybody, stop watching CNN. Let's continue watching.
People are grieving. I'm sorry that your people died. And secondly, what is there to be proud of? 2,975 dead? Is that what he's proud of? Is he proud of that maybe this is over now and he thinks it's going to go away? Well, it's not going to go away. We're going to remember this forever. This will be a stain in his presidency for as long as he lives. Because rather than coming here to support us, he came here to throw paper towels at us. And
paper towels. Now, listen, you know what they're talking about? When the hurricane hit, he took a flight to Puerto Rico, okay? And remember, the president doesn't actually do anything during the actual event. I mean, what are they going to, is it once again, he only says, he pushes the button pretty much. He says, go, green light, go, do it. But the plan that's already been in place for years and has been designed by everybody else. The president doesn't design these plans. He hires people. The administration hires people to do these kinds of things, okay? So at that moment, what the president will do will fly to Puerto Rico with a camera on him and hand out stuff saying, I'm here for you. I support you. That's what he's saying. And he's handing up a box of paper towels came off the back of a truck. He's opening up the boxes and he's throwing paper towels, rolls of paper towels out at people. Here, catch. I'm here for you, buddy. I'm here. There's nothing else he can do. What more do you want him to do? And in fact, right there, that gesture of handing out the paper towels is a gesture of I'm sorry. People have died. People need help. I'm considerate, compassionate. I love you all. That's his way of showing it. So he's handing out those paper towels. And you're going to turn around and say that the rest of his career is going to be tainted because he responded with paper towels. That is complete bullshit. And I'm hoping that people that watch CNN are smart enough to know this. They're smart enough to realize that Donald Trump was handing out paper towels just to be nice, to show it for political. Everybody knows it's for political reasons. Everybody knows he's doing this to display himself as a caring individual, a caring president that's trying to make America great again. It's like you could see right through it. But the scary part is people actually believe this shit. They believe this. They see the mayor of San Juan speaking and they're like, oh, he was not compassionate. He was not a good president. And the scary and terrible and awful thing is that this is going to be tainting him for the rest of his career and the rest of his life because of shameful people like this mayor and everybody else in CNN and all the other news organizations, and stop taking the high road as opposed to Trump taking the low road. Because the last time I checked, your high road is high as fuck and full of shit.
We will never forget, and we will always remember.
I will always remember Donald Trump so far as being the best president
Study commissioned
I have ever
by
seen.
the government of Puerto Rico now says Hurricane Maria killed thousands more than the government initially said. According to analysis by the George Washington University's Milken Institute of Public Health, says the storm claimed 2,975 lives. The Puerto Rican government initially said the hurricane killed 64 people. CNN's Leila Santiago joins us.
You saw what they just did? You saw that? So 3,000 people died, and then she turns around and goes, oh, but the administration only reported 64 because the administration is as blind as a fucking bat. And they don't think. You really think maybe the first 64 that died, They probably report it because they have to count the people. They have to count the number of people. Not everybody died immediately in this hurricane. They're counting 3,000 people. They're saying it themselves. They died from the after effects. It took many, many months. No electricity, no running water, sickness, and etc. All of this time it took for these people to die. And they're saying that it keeps ramping up. So they're saying that at the time they said 64. We know they said 64 at that time. Yes, my son. I'll be right there, okay, kiddo? I'll make you some food. Go sit with Danielle. I'll be right there, honey. My son is homesick still. Plus, I'm probably scaring him because I'm very passionate. Let's continue with this video, and then we're going to end.
Now, and Layla, the obvious question is, how could they possibly have such a disparity between what they initially said and this extraordinary and very tragic number?
The number started
and the
at
other
64.
really big question here is, will the government of Puerto Rico, now that this study has come out from George Washington University, the official study commissioned by the government, now that it has come out with this finding of 2,975, will the government of Puerto Rico change its official death toll that, as it stands right now, is still at 64? This is a study I've had an opportunity to look over, just actually talk to researchers here at George Washington University. They point out issues that led to possible deaths, issues with communications, issues of things that could have led to what you're saying. The government saying 64 when they believe it could be nearly 3,000. Issues in communications, how the death certificates were filled out. And this is important here, they say that they have more work to do. This is only phase 1 of their study. They really
I got to take care of
talk
my kids
to
right now.
Families of those
because they are sick, remember. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to record another video tomorrow for you guys, hopefully. And you could talk with Mark. Now, this is Talk with Mark. Please comment. Please like. Please share. Please hit the notification button. Right now, every video that I record, I'm going to be putting it on YouTube. And I'm also going to be putting it on Facebook at the same day, same time. I'd appreciate it a lot if you could like, share, and comment. I would like to review your comments. I would like to receive some. I will respond to them if I can. I would like to start a conversation. That's why it's called Talk with Mark. Do you want to talk with me? If you do, write a comment. Even better, like it. But if you want to not like it, like give me the little down thumb, then please go away. Go far away. Far, far away. Till next time, bye-bye now. My name is D. Mark Agostinelli. Have a great day.